often. And I'm not talking about on podcasts. Enough of that shit. Everybody's got a goddamn podcast. I'm not talking about that.
The 2025 BET Awards weren't just an event, they were a bombshell moment. And Kevin Hart was the one who lit the fuse. Right in the middle of his monologue, he shifted the spotlight and unleashed a strike that had the whole room gasping. His target? Meghan Markle. And let's just say, she didn't come out looking like royalty. Kevin didn't hold back. He ripped into her polished image, mocking her like she was a rejected Netflix character desperate for a spin-off. He dragged her activist Duchess persona through the dirt, pointing out the glossy PR shine and hinting that maybe, just maybe, there isn't even a real person under all that polish. The crowd was shocked. Jaws dropped, laughs erupted, and within minutes, Twitter was in full meltdown mode.
They've stopped giving, as I said, a rat's backside whatever she says or does, haven't they?
I don't think they ever did. It's kind of like Meghan, give up. That war was always won by them before you even started it. I mean, it's ridiculous how this woman continues to pillage the royal family, to use their events to then skyrocket her own.
People joke that Meghan was probably already on Google, searching how to trademark the word authenticity before Kevin could make it trend. But this wasn't just another roast tossed into the Hollywood fire. This moment hit different. It marked a cultural shift. A comedian finally saying what many had been whispering but were too scared to put on stage. For years, most comics treated Meghan like off-limits territory, worried about the social media storm that usually followed. But Kevin? He cut right through that invisible shield. No sugarcoating, no hesitation, just raw, unfiltered comedy that changed the conversation in real time.
Never complain and never explain was the late Queen's motto for royal PR. For Harry and Meghan, it's more a case of never reign and never abstain, especially when it comes to nauseating self-publicity, which invariably backfires.
There were no viral essays demanding Kevin Hart apologize, no hashtags calling for accountability, not a single celebrity typing out a long Instagram rant about grace, resilience, or Meghan's so-called struggle. Instead, there was laughter, pure, unfiltered laughter echoing across the BET Awards stage like nobody cared about the rules anymore. And here's the kicker, there was zero nuance. None. Kevin Hart didn't tiptoe, didn't sugarcoat, didn't soften the blows. He went straight for the jugular and hit every mark with precision.
True, she thought she was marrying into billions and billions of dollars, and she quickly found out that the purse strings are very tight, especially when it comes to marrying someone who's 8th in line for the throne now.
No hesitation, no fake sympathy, just straight shots. And the wildest twist? The audience wasn't uncomfortable. They weren't looking around to see if it was okay to laugh. They laughed out loud from the belly, like a pressure valve finally got released. It wasn't cruelty. It was honesty disguised as comedy. That's why it hit so hard. For the first time, people stopped pretending Meghan's carefully built media shield was bulletproof. You could feel it in the room. That bubble she's been hiding behind, inflated by PR spin and endless interviews, started to deflate right in front of millions. When even A-listers, the very people who usually clap politely and play along, decide the joke is worth more than the narrative, that's when you know the tide has officially turned. Kevin didn't just crack a joke, he cracked the illusion. Kevin Hart's joke did more than land. It did its job like a scalpel cutting straight through the hype. What he tapped into wasn't just a punchline, it was a pulse check.
Meghan specifically, her social media gets a significant amount more views than the Prince and Princess of Wales. But I think that it's all about spectacle. I think it's almost shameless. It's less about substance, which is what we do get from the Prince and Princess of Wales. And it's more about clickbait and generating her own headline.
Because let's be real, this moment didn't drop out of nowhere. It came after years of slow unraveling, years where Meghan Markle's once glowing halo of modern royalty has been slipping away piece by piece. That fairy tale shine? Gone. Replaced with something colder, more staged, more calculated. And now even Hollywood, the very machine that once rolled out the red carpet for her, is starting to turn its head the other way. Look around. Every close-up, every quote, every staged photo op is starting to feel like a shrug. The shine doesn't stick anymore. The humanitarian circles, the world that once applauded her for activism, have begun side-eyeing her motives. Because let's face it, when your every cause looks like a PR strategy, people stop buying the pitch. You can only slap your name on so many global issues before folks start whispering, what do you actually stand for?
News. Meghan's almost instant, farcically feeble response, unveiling her new range of dog biscuits. Not news at all. As a media ploy, a barking mad non-starter. In terms of her blizzard of social media activity and increasingly frenetic semi-revelations about her confusing business plans, it's hard to work out what precisely is occurring on Planet Meghan. But she's sure as hell trying.
Every speech sounds like it was test screened for focus groups. Every outfit looks plucked straight from a Pinterest board labeled empowerment chic. And every interview doubles as a TED Talk audition, polished, scripted, and hollow. It's not that ambition is the problem, it's that the packaging feels faker by the day. So when Kevin Hart stood on that BET stage and cracked the whole facade wide open, it wasn't just comedy, it was confirmation. He said out loud what millions had already been thinking. There was a time when Meghan Markle could do no wrong. Every public appearance sparked headlines, every soundbite turned into a viral mantra. But now, that time feels like a distant memory.
Meghan shared that bedside twerking video, taken shortly apparently before she gave birth to Lilibet. Remember the child that she named after the Queen's private nickname that was given to by Duke of Edinburgh, without getting permission from the Queen. Anyway, it was to silence online trolls, apparently, who basically claimed she was never pregnant at all. Instead, the videos emboldened conspiracy theorists. They're calling it Megspiracy, and the pair are being subjected to yet more merciless ridicule.
She was once hailed as a disruptor, a modern royal tearing down centuries-old walls with a smile, a carefully crafted speech, and an army of PR writers. Meghan Markle was supposed to be the face of a new era, rewriting the royal playbook with Hollywood charm and activist flair. But fast forward to now, and the glow has burned out. The narrative has shifted from trailblazer to try-hard, and in the very world she once aimed to conquer, Hollywood, she's starting to look less like a star and more like a guest who refuses to leave the party.
I did think that her baby bump in that twerking video looked kind of weird, but then again, I'm no expert. I mean, dare we say it? Of course she's pregnant. There's not a fake pregnant.
The projects that were supposed to cement her status, they've mostly fizzled out, leaving behind a trail of underwhelming outcomes. Netflix has gone quiet, Spotify straight up canceled, and those grand promises of groundbreaking media empires still sitting in the what could have been pile. The only thing making noise now is the growing consensus that Meghan is more invested in curating her image than creating real substance. Sure, she still speaks about empowerment, equality, and social change. But here's the problem. It doesn't connect anymore. It feels oddly detached, like lines read from a script instead of words lived from experience. The passion sounds manufactured, the message feels rehearsed, and the audience can sense it. The shift is clear. The more she talks, the less people believe. She's not being silenced because she's too controversial. She's being tuned out because she's become predictable.
And it seems to happen the whole time, really, which is people do act in character, and she's very demanding. She's difficult to work with. She has her ideas of what she wants to do, and she doesn't seem to want to listen to anybody else.
That's the real irony here. In trying so hard to control her story, Meghan Markle has lost total control of it. Every move feels scripted, every soundbite recycled, and now people barely bother to listen. And here's the bombshell. Meghan didn't skip the BET Awards. She wasn't even invited. According to insiders close to the organizers, her name was floated and instantly shot down. No hesitation, no debate. Just a hard no. That's not just exclusion. That's Hollywood sending a clear message in neon lights. You don't matter here anymore. Think about it. Award shows like BET aren't just about who's trending on Twitter. They're cultural checkpoints, where public image meets real influence. They tell us who's relevant, who's shaping the conversation, and who's fading into the background. And this time, Meghan didn't even make the cut.
26, well, that's a year away. It's not like, if Nike doesn't just devise a caption of just do it, but only sometimes. The iPhone wasn't created in 2007 and then we'll just think about that. We might not bring it through until 2009. The Invictus Games, you don't have them every 3 years, you have them every 2 years because that's how it works.
It's almost comedic when you step back. She spent years chasing Hollywood, curating this glossy brand of royalty meets radicalism, hoping to merge palace prestige with California cool. Yet when the big stage opened up and the spotlight hit, the industry didn't cheer. They didn't even boo. They yawned. And that silence spoke louder than any headline Meghan has tried to write for herself. What made Kevin Hart's roast cut so deep wasn't just the joke itself. It was the silence that followed. No outrage, no coordinated damage control, No army of celebrities posting essays about resilience or grace. That vacuum spoke louder than any punchline could, because when someone like Meghan Markle, once shielded by layers of PR armor and social justice buzzwords, gets dragged on a national stage with zero pushback, that's not just comedy, that's a cultural reset.
Well, I'd like to just reiterate the 1% comment. I mean, is this not the perfect example of I am completely unrelatable? I've been given so many opportunities because of my proximity to the British royal family that I have spoken so horribly about. I tormented the Queen in the last few years of her life. I tormented Prince Philip in the last few years of his life. And now I've tormented King Charles in the last few years of his life.
For years, Meghan lived inside a celebrity force field. The formula was simple. Any criticism aimed her way was instantly reframed as prejudice. Any scrutiny slapped with the unfair label. She was untouchable, positioned as the avatar of progress, floating above reproach, above satire, above consequence. Even comedians avoided her, terrified of the backlash that would come crashing down. But not anymore. That spell has shattered. Kevin Hart didn't just make a joke, he ran a test. He cracked open the shield, threw the punch, and the crowd didn't flinch. They didn't gasp in horror. They laughed. And that's what makes this moment so significant. This wasn't some tabloid cheap shot. It wasn't gossip blogs or fringe YouTubers fanning the flames. This was Kevin Hart, one of the most bankable names in comedy, taking the shot on one of the biggest nights in entertainment. And instead of outrage, the audience rewarded it. That's how you know the tide has turned for real. Meghan Markle is no longer untouchable. The public doesn't see her as off-limits anymore. The image she once wrapped so tightly in symbolism, struggle, and carefully crafted speeches is now wide open to the same scrutiny, sarcasm, and side-eye every other celebrity gets. The so-called Meghan Markle exception clause expired. And for someone who built her entire brand on being above critique, that expiration is the cruelest punchline of all.
You see what she says about cake? She's describing a cake. She's so beautiful on the inside, and you just don't know how good she is until you go deep and you get to know her. What's the subtext there?
She's talking about a cake in that way. She's going a bit Nigella Lawson.
She's talking about making tea. Tea's got to be in a silk bag, steeped in the sun.
Quite a
significant moment for me.
Think about it. The global press tours, the dramatic royal exit, the endless PR blitzes, and those multi-million-dollar deals with giants like Netflix and Spotify. All that hype, all that buildup, and yet Meghan's Hollywood stock is quietly crashing. The streaming platforms that once positioned her as the next big media mogul are now politely ghosting her. Meetings that were once rolled out on red carpets have turned into unanswered emails. What was supposed to be a content empire has become a case study in overhype and underdelivery. Her debut Netflix documentary with Prince Harry launched with a splash, yes, but then it fizzled. Headlines disappeared. The buzz evaporated. It was supposed to cement their legacy as cultural power players, but instead it became proof that the Markle brand can't hold attention for long.
She introduces the first friend in the programme, is her makeup artist.
Yes.
She's an employee.
Yes, exactly. How else do you get your 5 fruit in a style?
So the makeup artist is not going to criticise anything, is she? Because she's an employee for now.
Absolutely. I mean, some of the top journalists...
Hollywood has a short memory, and Meghan's moment is slipping fast. The story isn't what's next for her, it's what went wrong. Spotify already pulled the plug, and Netflix, they're just sitting on dusty development deals that look more like abandoned files than hot projects in motion. But here's the truth. It's not just about the failed deals, it's the persona itself that's falling apart. Hollywood doesn't run on contracts, it runs on charisma and mystique. And Meghan's brand has lost both. She's styled like an icon, scripted like a self-help coach, and managed like a product on a shelf. And that's the fatal flaw. People don't fall in love with perfectly packaged products. They connect with raw personalities, the ones who feel real, flawed, and unpredictable.
To know that she's just getting these little digs in all the time, which means that she can't quite disengage herself from being royal. Why would she? It's the only reason that she actually has a platform, and yet she has to keep having a go at them. She's smart enough to know that we'll be talking about it if she has a go, so it keeps her in the news cycle, which means Netflix keeps hiring her, because even if the ratings aren't great, which they weren't, the fact that she's constantly being discussed means that, you know, she's a bona fide person to be engaging with.
Meghan's version? Too curated, too polished, too plastic. That's why Kevin Hart's roast landed like a thunderclap. It exposed what so many were already whispering. the brand feels hollow. Meghan has become less of a cultural figure and more of a case study in over-marketing. And Hollywood, a town that chews up the fake and spits it out fast, has started moving on without her. So there it is. The curtain has been pulled back, and the crowd isn't clapping anymore. Meghan Markle didn't just get roasted by Kevin Hart, she got exposed. And the crazy part? It wasn't just funny, it was devastating. Kevin delivered his shots like a pro, quick and sharp, but the fallout wasn't about him at all. It was Meghan's carefully polished, airbrushed image that went up in flames in less than 30 seconds of live television. No PR team could patch it back together, no trending hashtag could rescue it. And that's the brutal truth. When even Hollywood stops pretending, the whole facade starts to crumble. Think about what that means. For years, Meghan has moved through the spotlight under this aura of untouchable status. Every headline painted her as groundbreaking. Every appearance felt scripted to perfection. But one comedian stood on stage, dropped a single punchline, and the armor cracked wide open. That wasn't just a joke. It was a cultural reset in real time. So the big question is this: has Meghan finally reached the point where she faces the same unfiltered scrutiny as every other celebrity? Or was this just one rare moment of brutal honesty in an industry still dripping with spin and selective silence? Either way, the message landed, and it landed hard. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think? Is Meghan's media bubble officially popped, or can she somehow rebuild it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button if you're tired of being fed the same PR fairy tales, and don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns that say what everyone else is thinking, but won't say out loud. See you in the next one.